Good morning, all of you. We are in the last week studying disadvantages of repertory. In that initial two lectures, we have seen the disadvantages of repertory with respect to the various facts of repertory, which are printed in the books of repertory. Then we have learned few important disadvantages of repertory about the use of repertory, and it was mainly that there are different methods of repertorization, and these different methods of repertorization, even you apply for the same case, for the same patient, for the same repertorial totality, the different remedies will emerge for the same case, for the same repertorial totality. And the solution for this is you have to refer frequently to the materia medica to overcome this difficulty. Then another difficulty faced regarding the use of repertory, difficulty in conversion of symptoms into rubric. This difficulty occurs because cross references are not well mentioned. So many similar rubrics in the cane repertory are not mentioned without the cross reference. Even though in over bone emotions characteristic and repertory, so cross reference is a separate subsection under each chapter. Still, there is a difficulty. Difficulties are there in conversion of symptom into rubric. Again, the conversion of mental symptoms, what is talked by the patient, is different in a local language, and what is the language which is used in repertory, it is the English language. So there are many chances the exact replicable rubric we may not get in a repertory. So sometimes we have to compromise with another similar rubric, not having the exact meaning rubric. And more, the language of repertory is a very much concise, and the language used by the patient is very elaborative. So converting this elaborative language into very concise language, there are chances that we will miss some part of the patient's expression of sickness. The same thing is with respect to the physical sensations. Then many times while using BTBP, we are faced with the limitation that the sensations are not properly mentioned. So these are a few difficulties that we have already seen in the previous week. Then we'll see two more difficulties, that is the difficulties in the selection of repertory. So different number of repertories having different philosophies, having different contents of the repertory, it really becomes confusing for a new beginner in the field of homeopathy that which repertory to select, because every repertory claims that it is the best repertory. So unless you have certain experience, certain training in selection of repertory, it becomes difficult tasks. So there is a difficulty in the selection of repertory. Then another important disadvantage about the use of repertory is repertory is a mean to an end, never an end itself. Now, this is one sentence summarizes most of the limitations of use of repertory, and it is many times asked as a long answer question. So we'll study this disadvantage in detail. Now, what is the use of repertory? So there are basically two different use of repertory. One is for the purpose of indexing the symptoms of homeopathic materia medica, and another is we are going to use this repertory for the purpose of function of elimination of non-indicated medicine for the given case. That function is a repertorization. So when we actually use repertory, we are not interested in referring to the index of homeopathic materia medica. When we are using repertory, we are more focusing on application of the repertory in the while repertorization. So after repertorization, what we get a group of medicine which is indicated for that repertorial totality on the basis of certain rubrics. And after this repertorization, we get different medicines in different grades. But the repertory is having the limitation that it will not conclude which remedy to give. At the best, it will give the suggestion and not the final choice. So this is the limitation, that the repertory will make you closer to the end, but choosing the final medicine is the function of materia medica, is in the hand of user. And repertory at its best will point only to the few remedies having resemblance to the case. And this fact is very well explained by various authors like Boni Hussain in his preface, where he writes that the scope of repertory is to only, it will lead into the field of related remedies. After using repertory, you will only be allowed, the function of repertory is to only the function of repertory is only give suggestion about the related remedies, which are the remedies which are related to this case, and it will eliminate the various other repertory. And we'll see this sentence, repertory is a mean to an end, never an end itself. So as the repertory leads into a field of related remedies as said by Boni Hussain, and it is not giving the final choice of remedy, it is said that repertory is a mean to an end, not an end itself. Now we will focus how we are going to write the long answer question which is asked on this simple sentence. So we'll focus how to write this LAQ. Now this LAQ is a essay type of question, but you can, it is as good as writing essay. So everybody can write this essay, but I will just highlight certain important points. So while writing the answer of this LAQ, first write the definition of repertory, then explain what is the relationship of repertory with organon and homeopathic materia medica, and how all these subjects are interlinked, interdependent on each other, and for the accurate application of homeopathy, all these three subjects are required. And when we apply these three subjects togetherly to a given case, what is the desired end? So what is the ultimate aim of all this application of these three subjects to a case is we are going to find out the simillimum. So we have explained two words from this sentence. So we have explained repertory and we have explained what is the end. So in this sentence, the end word is used twice. Repertory is a mean to an end, never an end in itself. What does this end suggest? So end means what is the ultimate end of using the repertory? It's finding out the simillimum. And what is the word meaning of mean? Now this word mean used here is not used in context with statistics. It is not used in context with mathematics, but it is used in context with a different ways. So mean means different ways. So here it is word is used in the same sense. So repertory is a mean. That means is one of the different ways. There are various ways to find out or to achieve the end result that is the simillimum, and repertory is the one of the way. So so far we have understood what is repertory, what is the end word referred to this in this sentence, and what is the explanation of word mean. Mean means different ways. So there are different ways of achieving this end. So the different ways of achieving this end is already you have seen under the heading of under the broad topic of prescribing symptoms. So there are different ways of finding simillimum. So keynote prescription, pathological prescription, prescribing on the basis of causation, prescribing on the basis of artistic prescription, prescribing on the basis of therapeutics. So out of this, there are certain limitations for each of these different ways of prescription. And out of all this way, the most popularly used, commonly used way is use of homeopathic materia medica and use of therapeutics without looking into the repertory. So somebody uses this homeopathic materia medica and therapeutics to find out the simillimum without finding the without using the repertory. There will be limitations of homeopathic materia medica and therapeutics. So what is the limitation of homeopathic materia medica is that no person can memorize all the symptoms of various medicines mentioned in the our materia medica. And then the limitation of therapeutics is what? All the medicines which are there in our materia medica, they are not proved up to the point of development of structural changes at the level of tissue or structural changes at the level of pathology. So whatever knowledge, whatever information is given with respect to this therapeutics, it is all gathered from the clinical experience of various physicians, and this clinical experience of various physicians will be sometimes biased. So there is a limitation to homeopathic materia medica, limitation to therapeutics. So the best way out of all these different ways, the accurate way is using repertory. So but what happens when we use repertory? That repertory has itself its own limitation. So this limitation will be when we use repertory, when we do repertorization for a given case, it will give you only a group of remedies indicated on the basis of repertorial totality. But what is important in selecting the simillimum is the whole evolution of remedy. It's the conceptual image of remedy. These things are important, but these things are given in the homeopathic materia medica. So what is given in the repertory is not given in materia medica, and what is given in the homeopathic materia medica is not given in the repertory. I will again repeat. What is given in the repertory is only numbers, is only grades. So repertory will give you a group of remedies in terms of calculation of result of repertorization, but it do not gives you the image of repertory. And in homeopathic materia medica, what is given is image, various images, but these images are so vast that not a single person can memorize all these images. So you have to achieve the end by intelligent use of homeopathic materia medica. And unless you use homeopathic materia medica intelligently, repertory is incomplete. And this is all you have to write under this long answer question if it is asked. Repertory is a mean to an end and never an end in itself. And do not confuse in between this sentence, because this sentence is very much important sentence, and it is one of the limitations of using the repertory. Then few important disadvantages about the use of repertory is that we have already seen, but the words, the sentences were different. That the final selections of a medicine always depends upon the homeopathic materia medica and not on repertory. Therefore, it is said that howsoever repertory, you are good in the repertory, you are excellently using that repertory, you are following all the steps of repertorization accurately, but the final choice is in the hands of materia medica. Now, and one more important disadvantage is that whenever anybody repertorize the case, what happens after a few years or after a few cases, say if you repertorize 100 cases properly with the help of repertory, it is a very common experience that what happens usually, the polychrist remedies always tops in the mathematical result of repertorization. So you understand, I think, what is a polychrist remedy means? The remedies which are thoroughly proved, well proved, and those who are acting on the various parts of body. And because these are well proved remedies, what happens? The grades are higher to this polychrist remedy. So because of this, polychrist remedies which are well proved, these are clinically verified remedies, and because of their sphere of action on the different parts of body, they cover most of the symptoms of body, and they usually appear in the higher grades of in the higher grades in the result of repertorization. And because of this, what happens? Our attention is not attracted towards the less proved remedies, and if we use repertory, the most of the time we will land up in prescribing the polychrist remedy, and we will not give focus to the less proved remedies, or the remedies having the limited sphere of action. Now, what is the solution for this problem? If you remember the steps of repertorization, if you remember how to calculate the result of repertorization, that which we used to do before the month of March, that there was a one step. So I will just recall that how to calculate result of repertorization. Now, the first step was calculate the or consider the medicines which covers more than 50% of medicine. Then second is also cover the medicine which covers less than 50% of rubrics, but having the higher grades. That means while calculating the result of repertorization, our attention, because of this specific disadvantage, that most of the time polychrist remedies comes in the result of repertorization, and to overcome this drawback of use of repertory, purposefully we have understood, or we are focusing also on the remedies which have less than 50% of coverage of rubrics, and even though they are having less than 50% of coverage plus having higher grades, we used to consider all these medicines also in calculating the result of repertorization. And this is the good practice to overcome this disadvantages of repertory by focusing on such remedies which have less than 50% of rubrics covered and having high grades. We will definitely, we can use not only the polychrist remedy, but we can also use the less proved medicines or medicines which are having limited sphere of action, like digitalis, ambragacea, cactus grandiflorus, helonias, geonanthus, chenipodium. All these medicines we can use in a better way, and this is the way how one will overcome this drawback of using the repertorization. Then there are few more other disadvantages of repertory. So far in the beginning we have studied that these disadvantages can be categorized about the facts of repertory, about the use of repertory, and one more is there are few other disadvantages of repertory. And this other disadvantages of repertory, first disadvantage is that repertory, by using repertory, we do not have any idea of potency and repetition. Now, to clear this point, we'll have to remember that in a we have to remember that what is a simillimum? Simillimum is not the medicine which has been based upon the conceptual image, or which has been based upon the matching of patient's image and drug image, but the simillimum also needs to be given in a accurate potency, and the dose should be repetition. And the repertory is criticized by this disadvantages that the repertory do not use idea of potency and repetition of doses, which is also equally important in prescribing the simillimum. Then second is disadvantages. Repertory do not help in the follow-up analysis. Now, it very rarely happens that you have given a medicine and within the first weeks everything gets improved and patient do not comes to you. So the cure has to be achieved through various doses, through various repetitions, and carefully understanding what is the effect of previous medicine, what is the effect of previous dose given on the patient, what is the effect on the general symptoms after taking that medicine, what is the effect on the particular symptoms, whether there is any new symptoms appeared, whether the old symptoms have appeared, and all these things have their own interpretation in the light of Kant's observation. And then if you properly analyze this follow, then only you can achieve the cure. But unfortunately, repertory do not gives us any clue about the help of follow-up analysis. Now, in to give the answer to this criticism, if you open Boger-Boningussen's characteristics and repertory, in the introductory part of BBCR, Boger has given some hints towards this follow-up analysis, how to analyze the action of remedy, or what happens when the remedies are given to the patient. So few repertories try to overcome this criticism, especially the BBCR. And then one more disadvantage is that repertorization is one of the method of selection of simillimum, especially when the totality of characteristic symptoms or individualizing mental and physical generals are present in the case. So repertorization is one of the method. So there are different ways of selection of simillimum, and like therapeutic prescription, materia medica, constitutional prescription, artistic prescription, keynote prescription, prescription on the basis of remote causation, immediate causation, prescription on the basis of miasms, prescription on the basis of separation. So there are so many ways of achieving the end of or finding out the simillimum. But when we compare all these ways and the way of repertorization, so there is a limitation that we can use repertory we can repertorize only those cases where the characteristic symptoms are present. This characteristic symptom may be incomplete, this characteristic symptom may be complete, and one more use of repertory will be that it is only applicable in those cases which have well mentioned mental generals and well qualified physical generals are present. So nobody can use repertory where there is absence of characteristic symptom or absence of mental general and physical generals of a case. Because if you overview repertory, there are all characteristic symptoms, there are all mental general and physical generals. And if there is, in your case, if these three symptoms, these three types of symptoms are not there, what will happen? There will be no analysis of symptoms, there will be no evaluation of symptoms, there will be no totality of symptom, there will be no repertoire totality. And if there is no repertoire totality, how you will use the repertory, how you can do the repertorization. So this is a very important disadvantage of repertory, that it is the method having its own limitations, and it is only applicable to the cases where characteristic symptoms, mental generals, physical generals, not all of this present, but few of these are present. Then only it is going to be useful. Otherwise, it will be a useless task of doing repertorization in a case where there is no characteristic symptom, where there is no mental general symptom or physical general symptoms. Now, how to overcome this drawback? To overcome this drawback, you have to go to the repertories which are focusing on the pathological symptoms. You have to use repertories which are using diagnostic names as a chapter for them. You have to use the repertory which have issues, which have sphere of action, which have mentioned various types of constitutions in those repertory. So when there is no characteristic symptom, no mental general, no physical general, the repertories like BTPB, BBCR, Keynes repertory, or all modified versions of Keynes repertory are outdated. You cannot use. But the solution is that you can use better clinical materia medicas, which are better equipped with pathological symptom, disease symptoms. And here the repertories like Boric repertory, repertories like Clark's clinical repertory, concordance repertory by Gentry, and needs repertory where there is special chapter on the tissues, on the constitutions. All this, or also in the needs repertory, there is a chapter on the temperament. So such repertories will be useful, but um, that means the clinical repertory and Puritan repertory will be more useful when this three type of symptoms like characteristic symptoms, mental general, physical generals are absent. And last is there is repertory do not gives you guidance about the miasms and intercurrent remedies. So to achieve the cure, accurate selection of medicine, its proper administration in the accurate potency, its proper repetition, proper follow-up analysis, and then in between you have to give certain intercurrent remedies. You have to understand what is the miasm. You have to give anti-miasmatic remedies. All these things are there in the process of cure, and the repertory do not guides you about this miasm and selection of intercurrent remedies. The solution is what? Recently, in few 10 or 15 years back, Dr. Ramanlal Patel has written a repertory of miasm. This repertory focuses only on how to identify the miasm of a case, and the repertories like BTPB, VCR has given a special chapters on the relationship of remedies. If you can use this repertory, this drawback of repertory will be also overcome.